StampnStorage presents Crafted Spaces. In this exclusive video series, we will take you inside beautiful studios from across the United States. First, you'll get expert advice for improving your craft area and designing your own dream studio. Later in the series, we'll take you on guided tours of the rooms we visited that were definitely crafted spaces.
We are here in lovely Tucson, Arizona, and have the pleasure of spending some time at the home of a popular Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. You may know her from her Stampin' Pretty and My Stampin' Studio blogs. She enjoys working in her craft studio and is excited to share with you how she organized and designed this space in her home. Let's step in and get acquainted.
Hello, I'm Mary Fish and welcome to my Stampin' Studio. I started crafting in 2007. I'm a newbie to crafting. I truly felt I didn't have an artistic bone in my body, let alone time to allow myself to be creative. I was a busy professional, I was a real estate agent, and I was looking for an outlet. Never thought it would be paper crafting until my sister took me to a Stampin' Up! Party, and I quickly fell in love with the products. My first Stampin' space was actually a guest bedroom, a closet that I organized as best I could with the backs of the doors and some shelving. And I quickly knew as my excitement about the product grew that I needed more space because I needed more stuff. So I evolved into a basement that had a couple of desks, a paper rack that my husband found at a clearance at a craft store, and that became my first little studio. When we moved a couple of times, that's when I began to explore installing cabinets. My business grew, my budget grew a little bit, and I decided to truly make it my creative space that would reflect my personality, keep me organized, and make it more fun than ever. This space began by literally looking for this home, finding a spot that would allow me to have my studio. I am so excited to share with you today my tips and tricks for keeping my space organized, keeping chaos to a minimum, and creativity at the maximum. I can't wait to share different tips, organizational wise, as well as practical tips you can do on a budget as well. So join me as we take a tour today. So let's get started. I want to show you what makes my Stampin' Studio really special. For starters, this is just a basic storage area. I have things like office supplies, my checking things, kind of my personal stuff, some extra packaging, and a postal area. I've got a postal scale, I've got additional cards that I can send out, and more envelopes. Just keeps things nice, neat, and tidy, but ready to go. And then as we move this direction, you'll note that the counter space dropped down. This is my main office computer area. This is where I conduct my business, and I'm much more comfortable sitting a little lower and sitting at the desk. But I bump it up again, as you can see, in my Stampin' area because I like to be higher up and I often stand. So going back to my main desk area, since I have postal things to the left, in here I have all kinds of envelopes and note cards ready to go. I love just having designated drawers for things like this. In here I have stamps, address labels, more supplies. And in the bottom drawer I have things that I don't have to access a whole lot. I've got my headset, my jam box because I love to listen to music when I'm trying to be creative, and a few extra little doodads. And then I've got a super comfy chair. I strongly recommend spending a little extra money on a chair that's comfortable, both for here as well as my crafting space. I think it's important to spend a little extra money in that department. Then I've got a big pencil drawer with all of my goodies. You could call it kind of a junk drawer, but it truly has some organization to it. And then I've got two deep file drawers where I can organize and keep most of my paperwork in one spot. So again, we bump up as we get into my crafting space. So in this cabinet, I keep things that are ready to go on my Stampin' Pretty blog. I've got projects and things that are ready so that I have them ready to work at my office space. Stamp storage, I like everything on an open bookcase. I organize by stamps that are seasonal, which I no longer need right now. And then I have all of the annual catalog items, lots of sentiments, and then the most new and current sentiments. And in this drawer, I have lots of cords, lots of goodies that I keep handy. And down below, I have most of my gift boxes and containers ready to go. You'll note that I have everything labeled. I'm a big stickler about being able to find things quickly. So for example, my muslin bags are ready to go. And then over here, I've got my handy dandy labeler. I use that to label lots of things you'll see around the space. Down below, I have all of my packaging. I send out lots of package. I've got bubble wrap mailers, things for catalogs, and this is storage space that goes around. I don't access it that often, so I keep things that I don't need a lot in some of the blind storage. In the corner, tucked away, I have all of my Project Life options. This is an accordion style, but it allows me to use that corner space efficiently to include my Project Life supplies as well as photos, my album, so it's ready to go when I want to work on a project. Moving over, I have my new projects bin so that I don't have to keep everything sitting on my craft space. So things will sit here until they're ready for assembly, some idea books, and some little storage bins for things like spritzers and sponges and my sanding blocks. Very easy to access. You can find those at an office supply store. I'm a big believer that I don't want big drawers with lots of organizers. So when we designed the space, I made sure I had lots of drawers that could be dedicated. For example, this is my clear block storage drawer. I have all my adhesives tucked in one space. And moving down, I have my cleaning supplies, my scrubbers, my extra stamping mist. And then I just have extra adhesive transfer sheets. And you'll note as we get further away and lower down, things that are less important are towards the bottom. Things that I don't use all the time. And someday I'll use that glue gun. On top, I have everything that I call being ready to stamp like a firefighter. I want to be ready to grab my ink colors, see all my colors in front of me, grab my blendabilities, have my punches ready. So my StampnStorage modules have been key in having me ready to go. And what's even more special about it is the fact that I can put things away so quickly and have that creative process all back in space, and I don't have to deal with the chaos. One quick note about lighting. I have under cabinet tape lights. I had to get a commercial grade to get myself lots of light because I want lots of light over my workspace. So it carries all the way around the room. But I also have supplemented with an LED light, which is a more cost-effective way to light your space. So both are great options. This works beautifully and is very budget friendly. For just a little pizzazz, I added some tape lighting up above just to highlight. You know, there's always the artistic and pretty side of your space. And then I've got a magnetic board here that allows me to either keep a card ready or a sketch if I'm doing a challenge. Keeps it right in front of me, very simple. And it's great just to put the magnet down and roll with it. So on the right-hand side of my main crafting space, I have another bank of 5 drawers. Each one is dedicated to something that I want readily available. For example, my grid paper that I use to work on projects all the time is right in the top drawer. Fits like a champ. And moving down, I have some scissors and tools that I use on a regular basis as well. And moving down, we're going to also look at things that I use a little less often. As I said, the further down we go and the further away we go are items that I don't need as easy access to. These are piercing tools and my mats. And then I have my brayer and my Stamp-O-Majig and some stencils. And then last but not least, I've got these cool little guys, which I'll show you more about in just a second, as well as additional options to move my shelves up and down. This is my punch storage. It's a godsend. I can see everything all in one place. I have my border punches, circle punches, scallop, circle, and ovals. They're all organized the way I think. I have flowers and nature together, tags with builder punches, and then additional tags. The nice part about these little guys is that at the back of each one of these, I can place this storage so that I can put, for example, the smallest punch and everything will line up just perfectly. So that deals with the depth issue and keeps everything even and right in front of my line of vision. Up above, I have embellishments in here. I put all of my dots and my rhinestones in DVD style cases and extra storage. And then I have all my buttons on this little spinner. Now this may shock you a little bit. This is empty. There's always room for things in the future, but this is great storage. One of the things I mentioned is how I like to have everything ready at my fingertips. So I prefer not to have them behind doors unless it's something I don't need a whole lot. Continuing, as I mentioned, this is a totally empty cabinet, and a lot of my upper cabinets are reserved for future storage. You'll note these are fairly empty, which is fine. I like knowing I have a lot of space, and I don't like a lot of clutter. So if something retires or I try to use my things, they will empty out. A lot of people ask me where I take my photography. This is it, gang. It's just a white foamy. I've got 2 clamp lights up there that I will clip on that top shelf, and that's it. I get some good light from just those simple clamp lights, and that's where it all happens. Unlike the upper cabinets, I have loads of things going on in these lower cabinets. In this drawer, I have my Big Shot magnetic platform and plates. I have my multi-purpose platform, and everything is ready to go because I keep my Big Shot readily available. That's something that I used almost every day, so it's worthy of its special spot on my countertop. Down below, I have more blind storage. It goes all the way around the corner. But since it's less accessible, I keep things that I don't need a ton of, like products that are waiting to retire, or I've got some blog candy in there for my blog. Up above, I have ribbon storage. This is all from StampnStorage, along with all of these modules. I actually painted them so that not only do they integrate well together, they look built in like my cabinets. Very seamless, very easy access. All my ribbon is ready to go, along with my bin for my scissors, ready to go. Of course, my trusty ribbon scissors have to always be ready. In these drawers, again, another bank of drawers that I wanted things ready, and each one had a place on my little roadmap. These are my Stampin' trimmers and blades. Down below, I have my paper cutter, which is more guillotine style. I use all of them, so I want them ready to go. And then in here, I've got my envelope punch board, as well as my gift box punch board and my scoring tool. And last but not least, on the big deep drawer are all of my Big Shot supplies. I have my magnetic cards and box and some special tips for using my framelits, all together and all organized and ready to go. The magnets keep everything in place and organized. In addition, I have a special box just for my embossing folders, works perfectly. And here I have my remaining dies. So again, easy access. This is kind of my big shot and my cutting area. One of the most important things that you should plan for in a studio is great places to quickly get rid of your scraps and those things that will clutter up your space. I'm a big believer that creativity and chaos don't mix well. So I have double bins for recycle, and that's just easy to go. As a matter of fact, when I cut with my trimmers up above here, I can just literally whoosh it right in. So that was definitely planned. So up above my waste bin, I have additional waste bin liners, and I also have a lint roller. That actually is for my cabinet area so that I can just quickly roll and pick up any little bits before I take a photo. Nice little trick for you. And then down below here, I've got some project files and things that relate to my paper storage, which we'll take a peek at in a minute, as well as some embossing supplies. So this is my paper storage. I think it's critical for every crafter to have great paper storage. I love everything showing. I love the way it looks. Truly, it's aesthetic as well as practical. Sometimes people will ask me if having it exposed like this, if I'll get a little bit of change on the ends for color. I'm in a room that doesn't get a lot of sunlight, so the change is minimal. To me, the trade-off is to have it easily accessible. This paper storage as well has been painted to match my cabinets. It's all from StampnStorage. This is the storage for my 12 by 12. It's not my designer paper, but it's my specialty papers, like craft paper, and my extra large, very vanilla and whisper white, and the foil papers. Because I'm not terribly tall, I've opted to use the same type of dividers and labels, but I have them actually placed on the bottom side so that I'm not trying to look from top down, I can look from down to up. So I can see exactly what I have in this higher area. Again, making it more efficient for this 12 by 12 storage. So I have all of my 8.5 by 11 cardstock in one spot. I have it organized by color groups: brights, regals, subtles, neutrals, in colors, and some of the specialty paper. Again, this 8.5 by 11 storage is from StampnStorage, and I've painted it to match my cabinets. For each color, I have a little project file that I keep scraps. That allows me to store each color separately, but I don't have to have scraps all in separate places. I end up using my scraps much more often with that type of easy access. I don't have these labeled. I'm so familiar with them because I use them every day. But if I want to match something up, I have these little color sheets that I can match up and make sure I've got, for example, Coastal Cabana in the right spot. So I have one of those for each of the color groups. As we work our way down, this lower storage is the host for all of my Stampin' Up! Designer Series paper. I'm using, again, as I did at the very top, 12 by 12 storage dividers. They're labeled, and then I have the paper on top. And for many of these, for example, the patterned paper that I use quite a bit, I have extra large 12 by 12 storage to keep those scraps, much like I do for the 8.5 by 11 storage. One of the things my husband and I realized when we moved from a 4-bedroom home with a loft dedicated to my stamping studio, when we moved into this home, we had just 3 bedrooms. So this, you're standing right now in one of the 3 bedrooms, which is my stamping studio. But I have a lot of friends and family that like to visit. So to make this extra space as versatile as possible, I used this closet, and we have a Murphy bed tucked inside. So we can very quickly turn my stamping studio into a comfortable guest room. And trust me, it's been used quite a bit. It's very comfy and nice, and I can fold it up. So if you have an extra guest bedroom, this would be a great way to find that space for your studio as well as accommodate guests. Thank you so much for joining me today for my Stampin' Studio tour. I'm truly fortunate to be able to share with you. I have taken what I originally started as a guest bedroom in a closet and have it evolved into this wonderful space, which is truly my creative spot, my little getaway, and an artistic escape for me. It's so important in my life. But many of the tips that we use today you can adapt to your own space. Maybe you just have a closet and you can just get some smaller storage units to keep things organized. I started that way as well. So I appreciate the time you took today. Hope you learned a little something new. Bye-bye.
So what did you think? Join in the conversation on our social media channels, which are linked here on the screen. If you're new to the series, be sure to watch the previous episodes. Don't forget to subscribe to our blog so you can hear about the new episodes to come. Thank you for watching Crafted Spaces, presented by StampnStorage. StampnStorage. Organize your craft, unleash your creativity.